Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's town hall. My name is Laura Masenka. I work in the events department here at Philabundance, and I'll be kind of working behind the scenes here. But before we get started, I wanted to give you a couple reminders that this event is being recorded for future sharing. If you have any questions, feel free to use the chat box or the Q&A box on the side of your screen. If we don't get a chance to answer all of your questions during the Q&A session towards the end of the presentation, we'll certainly follow up with an email and be able to share some answers with you then. And just for audio quality, we will have all other lines muted. And now I'm going to turn it over to Sarah Hertz to begin the presentation.
Great. Hi, good afternoon, everybody. If you're joining us for the first time, welcome. And if you've previously attended one of our town halls, thank you for coming back for some more. Today, we're thrilled to have two special attendees, Jen Wilburn, the Chief of Staff for Pennsylvania First Lady Frances Wolf, and Jen Kwan, Communications and Legislative Assistant to Congressman Brendan Boyle. Thank you both for making the time to join us today. Our topic today is really a truly inspirational program that has played a key part in broadening the work of Philabundance from relieving hunger now, which we've done very well for more than 30 years, to addressing the difficult and challenging systemic issues that relate to hunger. We have all witnessed the result of not addressing these issues over the past few weeks. Now we're going to go over the agenda. Okay, thanks. So we're just going to have a quick activity update to just refresh you on some of the work that we've been doing related to the COVID epidemic. Then we're going to hear about Philabundance Community Kitchen, particularly the workforce development aspect of it, and then the social enterprise side of it, and highlight on special efforts being made during the pandemic. And then we will finish up with nesting all of this in how this work fits into our Ending Hunger for Good initiative and Food Plus other tools that give people equal footing in our society. And then as always, we'll have time for a Q&A. Today's speakers are me, who does not appear to be visible to you, but there I am. Candace Matthews-Bass, who has been with PCK really almost since its inception. She'll tell you more of that. She runs the workforce and community development side of it. Samir Hernandez, who's a graduate of the program, so we're really thrilled that he's making the time to be with us today. And then we'll hear from Rich Bratega, who is the director of the overall Philabundance Community Kitchen initiative, and Milani Cataldi, my colleague, who is leading our Ending Hunger for Good initiative. And we also have with us Chef Brian Ricci, who is the chef instructor for the Philabundance Community Kitchen program. So here's just a brief update on our COVID activity. We have been continuing our special distributions throughout the city. In addition to all of our regular operations, we've been distributing to 40 sites twice a week. That is 16,000 boxes of fresh fruits and vegetables every week to these 40 sites, in addition to all of our regular distributions. And if you like numbers, they're there, 250,000 pounds of fresh fruits and vegetables a week. I will just add that last week, during all of the unrest in the city, we were not able to do one of these distributions on one day, but all of the other days we were in Philadelphia and doing our work. We're also continuing our work with the Farmers to Families program, also known as CFAP. This is a USDA program that is trying to get more food flowing and to compensate farmers. It's a $3 billion program that is trying to move fresh produce, meat, and dairy from farmers through the charitable food distribution network. So we have partnered with 7 distributors, and we are distributing more than 200,000 boxes, which equals more than 4 million pounds of food for distribution across our service area. And that is 4 million pounds in a 6-week period. And then we will begin a bidding process again for the next 6 weeks. This is actually allowing us to do our first ever drive-through distribution, and you can see a picture from, the pictures are from week 1 of that distribution, which was at Citizens Bank Park. It takes a village, and there were a lot of public and private entities involved in making this happen in a well-organized and safe way. Unfortunately, we were not able to do the drive-through last Friday for safety reasons, but we really hope to be doing it again tomorrow and to be able to continue it. And that's it. We're going to continue to adapt as needed with all the changing things in our region. I think flexibility is key for all of us right now, and your support as our donors allows us to serve our agencies and clients in the best way possible during these really uncertain times. I'm now going to hand things over to Candace Matthews-Bass, who's going to tell you more about the PCK Workforce Development Program. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Very excited to be a part of this presentation, and even more excited to tell you all of the things that we are doing currently at PCK, the people that we serve, and the impact that we make and will make with some exciting announcements we'll make throughout the presentation. I'll start by saying that having been a part of this team for almost 20 years, that the same transformation that PCK has made over all that time for each graduate that it has served has actually been done on the staff, and I am certainly no exception. So I'm grateful to be here and to tell you about who we are. The mission of PCK is to promote the self-sufficiency of low to no income adults through training, support, and employment in a commercial kitchen setting. PCK's mission is so much more than just teaching people how to cook, and even more than just producing meals. There are actually 2 programs working together that make up the mission of PCK. And we hope to transform not just the people that participate, but be impactful on communities who would benefit from our food. The job training program is workforce development, and it's seeking to make folks who are having obstacles to finding jobs and otherwise challenges to stabilizing, giving them a place where they can work on themselves and work their way back into the food service, work their way back into the industry. The meal production side takes food that we get from Philabundance and a number of different other sources, and enables us to transform that into meals and food products that will help to alleviate hunger and serve our community in need. Both of those parts of the program have to work in concert for the program to be successful. We share a location, we share a facility, and the students who work on the job training side of the program potentially work also in the production side of the program to help alleviate the labor cost, while at the same time the students are receiving additional training, opportunities for employment, and advice to the whole program on how we operate and prepare for the food service industry. Both those sides of the program then work together to be a strong entity and force and one unit. PCK is the training side of the program. In its current state, operates a 14-week session 4 times per year, and is classroom and hands-on based culinary training, incorporating also supportive areas like life skills and job training. One of the most important things about this program, despite the fact that it is equivalent to approximately 1 semester's worth of culinary training at the college level, is that it provides life skills classes and complementary coaching that enable our students to then take the things that they're learning in their life skills classes, like accountability and communication, and the importance of being on time and what time management means to an employer, and incorporate that in their day-to-day operation. The coaching is provided by a specific staff member, but it's so important that every staff member jumps in, and we have what we call a village model of coaching that ends up supporting our students throughout the program, at graduation, and even beyond during our retention phase. PCK serves people who come from a variety of different places, but primarily have a little bit higher of a female percentage than we do a male percentage. Our students are primarily African American, and that's because the location of our program is in an area that is high, has a high Black population. However, the program is targeting really specific folks who are looking for an opportunity to change their lives, but are currently low income and maybe having difficulty finding work or finding their place in the world. Our students are assessed at a 6th to 7th grade reading level and must be at that level to enter into the program. 47% of our students are returning citizens, and we are one of the few programs in the greater Philadelphia area that accepts people with a variety of offenses, knowing that that is a huge obstacle, and we really need to make sure that people, not just who are the cleanest records, have opportunities to transform their lives. Students do have to be at 200% or lower of the federal poverty level and or food stamp or SNAP recipients. And because our program currently is located in North Philadelphia and will continue to be, we want to make sure that the residents of that area are most aware and have the greatest opportunity to participate. We talked about the curriculum, not just including culinary arts. However, it is robust and it does cover approximately 1 semester's worth of information. Classes are hands-on as well as classroom-based. It includes culinary arts, safe food handling, which is through the ServSafe, life skills classes, math. We provide employment readiness and retention services, which follow the program from the point of graduation up to 2 years after, recognizing that a starting place for lots of graduating programs, having staff to support them is one thing, but we know that as time goes by, people need refreshers, things change, circumstances shift, jobs may not be what we thought they were going to be, and support to make sure our students are able to keep going, raise their wages, and look for better opportunities is provided through those retention services. One very important component of a program like this is that we have to collaborate with a number of different agencies and industries in order for our students to have connection to support, as well as find jobs that are going to be sustaining, pay livable wages, and give them opportunities to advance over time. It takes all of our team members and all of our time to reach out to those opportunities. Some of those agencies, our training, offer recruitment for us on our behalf, as well as supportive services like literacy and math support for students that may be having difficulty while they're in the program. The number of businesses that you're looking at on the screen are all partners of PCK. They provide support to us in a number of ways that include coming in for specific events and giving us feedback and giving our students feedback, volunteering as mock interviewing entities, or just coming in to do a demonstration with our chef. They are able to provide internships for our students where they are allowed to work for 2 weeks and show their skills, and they provide employment opportunities. And of all of these, all 5 have hired our students at one point in time or another, or have current graduates working for them as we speak. This is the impact that PCK has made, and these figures represent all 20 years of operation. We have had 927 total graduates from our very first class in August of 2000. Typically, we serve approximately 100 students per year, and because our program is so robust, requires so much personal work to be done, our graduation rate is approximately half of all of the students that come in at 51%. However, because of the nature of the work that we do, the support that we provide, and the transformation that we can see in our students, even in such a short period of time, our overall graduate placement, job placement rate is 80% over the life of the program at an average starting wage of about $11.50. The program at its retention is 77% still working a year later, and at 2 years later, 73% still working. And to kick us off to actually seeing a representative of the impact of the program, I'm introducing one of our graduates, Samir Hernandez. Super, super proud of him and the fact that he's recently been able to come back into PCK as a participant in our work, in our team in the kitchen. Samir graduated in winter of 2017 and has maintained contact with the program throughout the time that he was in retention. I hand the mic over to Samir.
Hey y'all, how's everyone doing today? Appreciate everyone taking the time out during these times of reflection to, join us for this. Like Ms. Candace said, my name is Samir Hernandez and I graduated in January of 2018. My path to PCK was a little different. I actually had about a 9-year career in retail management before I was abruptly laid off, and had 6 to 8 months with just no work, trying to figure out what to do. I was working with KIP Philadelphia, just maintaining their buildings. After building a good rapport with my wife's supervisor there, she recommended PCK to me, and I was here for the open house literally a week later. I had nothing to lose and nothing but time and opportunity. So I was, why not? Why not take the chance to come through? My sole purpose in the beginning was, just to get a job and get my life back on track. I was already engaged to be married. I was saving for a wedding. We were planning on buying a house, but as you all know, once you lose a job, everything kind of falls to the wayside, and you just gotta pick up the pieces and figure it out from there. Once I joined the program, and I really took it seriously. I wouldn't say seriously, more so I opened up to the staff. I was a little hesitant at first. Chef Brian Ricci really sparked my passion for food service, and surprisingly sustainability. I had no idea what it meant before that, but once I met him and he taught me about it, it's really something that I followed for the last few years now. During the 14 weeks that we are here, we learned lots of culinary skills. We get to help with PC Catering, which is I guess like a catering that we have through here, and we make meals and provide for like the city and any events that we do just around basically promoting PCK. Let's see, after that, sorry, I had a lot written down and now I'm kind of jumbled up, but it's trying to recover here. I would say between being exposed to the educational part, which coming in, I wasn't expected. They actually brought college professors in, and once I learned that I was able to have the opportunity to take classes at Philadelphia Community College and sit down and speak to them, I'd never had that opportunity before, so that was absolutely incredible. But not only are the career is important and the education is important, all that, life skills are number one. Like, you can have a great education and you can have, a great career, but if you don't have life skills, you really can't succeed, honestly. The staff here, they really do a great job of equipping and exposing every student here to various life skills, such as perspective. We spend 2 weeks on just perspective and learning how perspective plays in different careers, how everyone has a different perspective, and just broadening our horizons and opening our eyes just to, different things out here. Also, they teach us about values, culture, goal setting, dealing with hardships, recovery and perseverance, budgeting, and then my personal favorite was meditation. PCK and their staff really gave me the confidence and reassurance I needed to push forward with my life after everything was just turned over. On graduation, I earned an internship at the Mashulu, which is one of the top restaurants here in the city. I worked there for 6 months and then worked through restaurants in West Philly, worked through restaurants in Center City, worked through restaurants in Old City, all while keeping contact with the staff here and just coming back and periodically checking in, letting them know like, hey, I'm okay here, I'm not okay here, I might need this, I might need that. But they were always a listening ear. They were always someone who I could talk to, and they could help me and guide me through different parts of my life that at that point in time, I really just was no idea, very, very lost. And then currently, once COVID-19 hit, they actually invited me to come and work in their staff here with PCK, serving the residents that we have here in the building, along with prepping and packaging all our meals for our various accounts that go out to the city and our meals that go to the homeless downtown as well. So just being able to, at one point in time, start that having no idea what I'm doing and being able to come around full circle and just make an impact and do my part during these times has really made me proud to be a part of this company. Moving forward, I'm hoping that they're bringing me on as a chef instructor for the next PCK class, hopefully whenever that happens, because we right now have no idea. But I'm looking forward to that, and I appreciate PCK for everything they've done for me, and then continue to push me in the right direction. I'm forever grateful.
Thank you, Samir, for sharing a little bit of your experience with PCK. Now I'm going to ask Rich to kind of jump over in front of the camera here and talk a little bit more about PC Catering.
Sure. Hello, everybody. My name is Rich Bottega, and going to go to the next slide. There you go. So we started a social enterprise a few years ago. It was catering, and it gives the students a wonderful opportunity to get additional experience in real time. I mean, they're dealing with customers, they're dealing with guests of customers, they're butlering hors d'oeuvres, and typically what we do for catering is, for lack of a better phrase, a little fancier than the food that they learn how to cook here. So it really exposes them to broaden their horizons onto different types of meal production. And sometimes they'll get paid to help, and sometimes it's voluntary. And any revenue that's generated, which typically isn't a lot, but any revenue that's generated helps support the PCK operations, whether it be meal production, catering, or job training. The wonderful thing is that in our new facility, we are going to have a facility that offers wonderful space to do catering functions on site as opposed to taking food off site, which is currently what we do all the time. We will be able to host business meetings, community meetings. We'll have room rentals for different organizations within the community and abroad. Meal production is another part of what we do here at PCK, Philabundance Community Kitchen. We typically do about 300,000 meals a year out of this family shelter here in North Philly. Typically, they're gap or replacement meals. We do an incredible amount of meals to service the homeless. They're either a congregate meal, which is like a trade meal, or individual meals as well. We have a contract that helps recovery patients and other health needs as well. We're continually sourcing new contracts. It's part of what we do. It's part of our mission. And we're always looking for areas that there might be a meal gap that we can fill and take care of people that are in need. It's unfortunate, but the reality of the situation is that some of these contracts we have with the city and other organizations within the city, the reimbursement rates frequently aren't near enough to cover our costs. For example, we may get $2 or $3 for a meal. That's a complete meal that's purchased, cooked, packaged, delivered, sometimes served. So, we depend heavily on philanthropic support to continue to feed the homeless, seniors, and the women and children that we currently take care of. Next slide, please. So it's the middle of March, as everybody's aware. And for the first time in my life, I hear the word COVID-19. So at first we didn't know what to expect, but we were very quickly educated on exactly what this meant. And we were doing about 4,000 or 5,000 meals a week. And we're currently, I'm going to say, back down to 8,000 because we peaked at about 8,500 to 9,000 meals a week. And it's kind of leveled off a little bit at about 8,000. And a lot of these are new contracts. They came to us asking us to fill a gap that they had. They couldn't find food for as many people that were in need. Some of them are our existing contracts that, for example, we have 5 different senior housing complexes, and the seniors were told you can't go out anymore. So they couldn't go to the grocery store. They couldn't go to the dollar store. So they were essentially trapped in their apartments. So the request for meals went up in those particular houses. We continually look for different contracts. We're still getting asked to take on some additional feedings due to the COVID situation, unfortunately. And we do everything in our power to take care of folks in need. I think at this point in time, I'd like to turn it over to Melanie Cataldi to talk about the future of PCK and our Ending Hunger for Good initiative.
Thank you, Rich. I appreciate that. And I would like to echo everybody's sentiments to thank everybody on the call for joining us here today to learn a little bit more about PCK. And I know that many of you on the call are supporters of PCK. So thank you so much for allowing us to grow this program and really turn it into the first-class program that it's always been, but the ability to help even more people in the future. Like Candace, I've been with the program for 20 years. We started it together and it's been a bit of a journey. But as you've heard from my colleagues, the Philabundance Community Kitchen it's more than just a program. It is a place that creates an environment, not only where folks can learn new skills and opportunities for employment, but really create lasting life change and a career path with real growth potential. I think Samir did a fabulous job in speaking about that. And in fact, the program has been so successful that with the help of many people and other organizations, we are building a new facility. So that's what you're seeing right here. That's a picture as of probably a week and a half ago. The facility will be about a 20,000 square foot facility that is kind of cut in thirds. So a third of it will be for workforce development, state-of-the-art classroom, administrative offices, counseling offices. Another third will be a fully USDA inspectable meal production kitchen, which Rich spoke about a little bit. So we're going to be able to go from the 300,000 meals, which are It's amazing that staff are able to turn that much out of the small kitchen that they're currently in, to be able to provide millions of meals a year to the seniors, children, and families that we serve that are struggling with hunger. The facility should be open or complete by the end of July. So Samir, I am hoping that that first class launches by the end of August or very early September. And then in the new facility, we'll be able to at least double the amount of folks that we're able to help with workforce development. So we're really excited. And again, thank you to everybody on the call that has helped us get to where we are today. PCK is really the first program that Philabundance launched that helps address long-term solutions to hunger. It's really the anchor program for our Ending Hunger for Good initiatives. We expanded our mission about a year ago and added the Ending Hunger for Good component because we realized that distributing food every day is needed and necessary, but it's not helping to solve the long-term problem. And that Philabundance with our donors and our volunteers and all of the stakeholders that have helped us become who we are today, we have a voice and we need to be part of a larger movement that is focusing on longer-term solutions to hunger. So I'm really proud of Philabundance for stepping out, expanding our mission and saying we're gonna do both. We're gonna both relieve hunger today and focus on long-term collaborations that end hunger forever. When we launched our initiatives, our End Hunger initiatives about a year ago, we knew that it was gonna have to be collaborative, that hunger doesn't happen in a silo, and that the folks that we're helping to feed are struggling with other challenges, housing, healthcare, education, workforce development, financial literacy. We know that we need to collaborate with other organizations that specialize in these services so that together we can form a safety net that helps to allow individuals, families, and eventually our communities to get to that equal footing that Sarah started us off with. And one of the things that we learned pretty early on and that Candace talked about is that there's a huge role for what we call coaching. Some people call it case management, but really it's coaching. It is life skills and new perspectives and everything that goes along with that. And so we're partnering with agencies that are offering coaching and the other social determinants of health, like healthcare, housing, education, workforce development, and financial literacy to get at collaborative, long-term stability for the folks that we serve. Now, I think with Laura's help, we're going to go to a video with one of my colleagues, Jess Wyckoff, who will talk a little bit about some of the partnerships that we've started within the last year.
How do you end hunger for good? By creating a bold new strategy that offers more than just food donations.
Philabundance's mission is to drive hunger from our communities today and end hunger for good. Through over 400 partners, Philabundance is out in the community serving around 90,000 households a week, and we hope to eventually take people off the emergency food system by providing them with resources through Pottstown Cluster and Habitat for Humanities going forward.
It's not just handing out food, but it's more helping people to be able to create stability in their lives. Counseling services, life coaching, education on how to manage money, how to save money, and learning better ways to build resources all around.
When I first found that I was going to be a mother, I was young, I wasn't prepared, I didn't have employment, and I was scared. It helps people find resources to direct themselves in a way where they can try to figure out these problems and solve them rather than affecting them longer in their lives. Most people have identified as feeling more food secure, and going forward, we're looking to help people increase income, whether it's through workforce development training, job placement, or education. We just have, a group of people come in and we all sit around like a family. We show them resources and things that they can do to go down a better path and really just connect with everybody. And people, they open up and they share their stories, and it helps us as a community grow together closer.
This isn't about feeding people for a day, but empowering them to take back control, eliminate uncertainty, and develop a stronger sense of self. Philabundance and Toyota are leading the way in how we empower the families facing hunger today. We're making a difference. So can you.
Thank you, Laura. So, as was kind of stated there so eloquently, and as Candace said, it really takes a village. We're working with a village model. We know that a lot of these things, these challenges from intergenerational poverty, not only are all challenges that folks we serve are up against, but they're interdependent. They affect each other. So an example of that is we all know that diet and health are related. But what we learned recently from Feeding America, which is our national umbrella organization of food banks that we belong to, is that of the 500,000 adults that are in our service area of 9 counties that struggle with food, if we were to move the needle on hunger with just 1%, so 5,000 adults, that would save approximately $87 million a year in healthcare costs. So we know that all these things are interdependent and that we have to bring them together to get to really systemic, long-term solutions. So this next slide is our kind of trying to look at what place-based work would look like, where we go into a neighborhood and we work with other entities such as the Philadelphia Housing Authority, Habitat for Humanity, different health systems and different educational systems, and come together using food from the very beginning to help engage the community and for the community to have a voice in helping to lift up that community or that neighborhood. So our goal, Philabundance's goal, will always be to increase food security. Pairing with workforce development, housing, healthcare, and other services, each of the partners is looking to measure short, medium, and long-term outcomes in each of our areas, but that are affecting each other. And at the end of the day, we're striving to increase stability and to promote upward mobility for the clients that we serve. So Philabundance is strategically lending our food and our expertise, and other organizations are working with us to help get folks back on that equal footing, or possibly for the first time, and really look at systemic, collaborative change that, as Sarah mentioned, we've seen over and over again and recently is really needed. We're all in this together. And with that, I think I am turning it back over to Laura. Thank you.
Thanks, Milani. I'm now going to open it up for questions. Feel free to use the chat box. I know it takes a couple minutes. There is a little bit of a delay, so we'll give everyone a minute here. Okay. Well, while everyone's kind of getting their questions together, I have a question for Candace. Can you talk a little bit about how you developed the curriculum and along the way, have you modified it and found things that work better, in that sense?
Absolutely. As you can probably imagine, over the 20 years of operating, the curriculum has changed quite a bit from when we started. In the very beginning, we actually modeled the curriculum after the DC Central Kitchen, which is a national model for community kitchens as a part of the Catalyst Kitchen umbrella organization that marries social enterprise, service to communities that are in need, and life job training. Over the years, we've noticed that a lot of the things that they had as a part of their curriculum were a little lighter on the life skills, a little bit lighter on the really specific transformational change. The culinary aspect of it and the safe food handling aspect of it seem pretty solid. But the parts that actually start to get into the nuances of how we change as an individual, how we make sure that folks are making new choices and are backed up and supported in making those new choices, we didn't see that as robust. So over the years, we have developed different iterations of our life skills array, of our job readiness array, as employment and passages we use to access jobs have changed, especially today. And we have also made adjustments in our culinary based on what are the most important skills that a new employee needs going into a opportunity in culinary arts, in a restaurant, in a setting that requires large quantity meal production. And we have advised our employment partners and others in the field to help us develop that curriculum. Going into our new kitchen, which we've referenced a number of times in this presentation, we have actually reworked that curriculum one last time with the hope that going into a sort of adjusted version of our program, we have covered some of our newer challenges as it pertains to electronic access to jobs, that also cover dealing with crisis and trauma as it pertains to COVID and pandemics, as well as making adjustments to the math sessions, the type of supports that we're going to need, and the equipment that's going to be new in this kitchen that students are going to need to learn. It's a long answer, but hopefully I covered what was initially inferred.
Absolutely. And if you don't mind staying on, I think we have another question here for you to talk about. Can you talk a little bit about how do we recruit people, and then how do we screen applicants?
Certainly. Over the years, I'll start back in the beginning when welfare to work was still a sort of a concept that was being thrown out there as it pertained to social service agencies. We worked primarily with county assistance offices and agencies that partnered with county assistance offices to find individuals. What we are doing now, and certainly people who the program targets are not limited to folks who are receiving public assistance. There are those who don't receive it all, are qualified, but just don't receive. There are those who are undereducated, and this growing population that we serve of those who are returning citizens. We work with agencies that identify themselves as specializing in working with these particular populations. We set up a MOU, or an agreement of mutual responsibility, a memorandum of understanding that enables us to kind of confirm that we have a certain number of folks who have the opportunity to access the program on a consistent basis. So we develop partnerships with agencies who have that like captured audience, and then do presentations to identify them, to invite them to come to an open house. We screen them at that point, where students have the opportunity to take a test that shows their literacy, their math, and their writing capability. And we also get to hear from them in terms of what kind of future they see for themselves and why they think the program is a fit for them. We run into people who think they'd like to learn how to cook because they want to learn how to cook. We're looking for folks who have found that their lives are not on the path they want them to be, that there's things that they need to correct about their lives, as well as things they need to learn, and opportunities that they just don't have access to. They want to change, and they need the tools and support to do so.
Excuse me. And this question might be good for Chef Brian. Can the new meal production kitchen help with Philabundance's goal of lowering food waste?
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for taking part in this town hall. From the meal production side, I can really speak to the culinary side. One of my goals from the culinary side, not necessarily meal production, is to make sure that I teach every student who comes through our doors about the importance of sustainability in terms of reducing waste going forward. I know that we do have some equipment that we're using in the production side that will address some things in terms of sustainability and waste. We've got a biodigester, which is this really neat tool. It turns any kind of food that it has turned into not necessarily garbage, but it basically uses an enzyme to make what would normally be sort of like a landfill kind of a waste situation into virtually nothing. Obviously that process takes time, but it's a pretty neat tool. And currently, in light of the fact that we're waiting to obviously take possession of the new space, I am working with our Philabundance Sustainability Department on what we can use as our best practices when we do take control of the space. So going forward, we'll always have an eye towards that kind of sustainability, making that part of our goal as well.
Thank you. Speaking of the new space, Rich, can you provide I know you're at the site often right now, a construction update and talk about kind of when does it end, construction end? How do we take over the building?
Sure. Hello again, everybody. Currently, we are slated to take possession of the building July 31st. And actually, you know, we had a couple bumps in the beginning with construction, but most projects do. And we've hit our pace now for the last 6 or 7 months, so things are going pretty well. We are super excited to have a space where we could better accomplish our goals with being able to train more students and to just have a more inviting environment for all the participants to partake in. I wanted to speak to something else that was just asked of Brian. We are currently working on a program with a produce company on value-added processing and upcycling. So this particular company may have, pick an item, some peppers that are a couple days old, they're still good, but they would then perhaps ship them to us. We would further process them and freeze them for them so that we would significantly be cutting down on their waste.
Thank you for sharing. I have another question here for Candace. Can you talk a little bit about, in the new facility, will you have any opportunities for continuing education?
So we have recently received a grant from the Pew Charitable Trust for a partnership with JEVS, the Jewish Employment Vocational Service. And for those who are familiar with JEVS work, they have been a workforce development providing leader, as well as education to many, many different vulnerable communities for decades in the greater Philadelphia area. In collaborating with them, we hoped significantly just to do that, expand for additional educational opportunities, provide a little bit more robust support as it pertains to employment and transitioning students back into the workforce, and then evaluating through studying apprenticeships as well as other supplemental trainings, what would be of most value to employers to provide sort of as maybe like a graduate option to the program. So the program in the new location will be 16 weeks versus the 14 weeks that we currently operate. And while we will use that time to expand more training for the students, we're also evaluating what other educational components should we be incorporating so that we can respond to the need for middle management employment in the culinary arts industry and enabling our students the most specific skills necessary to get there.
Are we, and Rich might want to jump in here, when we open the new facility, are we going to have any, are we going to have a need for volunteers? You know, we have volunteers here at the Hunger Relief Center, but what about at PCK 2.0?
Yeah, I mean, we're still in conversations about that. The team has been discussing that. We'll certainly have a need once we get up and running. You know, I would say that need will probably be towards the last quarter of the year, once we get in and get settled and hit our stride and get a couple more contracts. And yeah, but absolutely we'll be canvassing for volunteers.
And you know, Milani, you had talked about a community space, and you know, I think anyone on the team can jump in here. How will that, what does the community space look like? Will it be rented? Will it be, you know, how will we use the community space?
I'll jump in to get us started, and I welcome any of my colleagues to join me in this response. From a community-centric perspective, one of the most important components of this new building was making sure we had a space that the community could access. We see our role as a very significant one, but we are not the author of the needs of our community, they are. And in being able to access their knowledge, get their feedback, we hope to establish and develop additional programming outside of what PCK currently offers to use that center of that building space for opportunities that may extend nutrition training. It may be job fairs. It could be dinners that we offer to surrounding community. It could be, there's a number of faith-based institutions in the area. Maybe there's a collaboration that we can bring all of them together. We have an organization called Urban Creators in the neighborhood that is an urban farm, but they don't have any indoor space. Maybe they need to rent space so that they can extend their education to their particular participants, which are primarily youth. And then certainly the catering function, which Rich talked about a little bit earlier. But from a community standpoint, we really want this space to be our space, not Philabundance's space only. So we're open to conversations with even Temple University to start having an understanding of what is absent in terms of programming in the area, what our neighbors and residents feel like they're not getting, they don't have any access to, or they just are underserved in that particular area, and things that they may not have even thought about or dreamt of yet, and open the floor to explore those opportunities and then start collaborating with time and space to see how we would make those kinds of programs happen.
That sounds exciting. I know we're all looking forward to 2.0 opening and construction finishing up. I'm gonna leave any other questions. We'll certainly follow up with individuals who have asked other questions, and just kind of keep everyone on time, make sure we're being respectful of your time, and move on here. So give me 1 second here. Wanted to share a quick video with you. Sorry.
On behalf of the thousands of residents across the Delaware Valley, that your generous support has helped us feed in this unprecedented time. All of us here at Philabundance would like to say thank you. Due to COVID-19, the number of families in need is growing daily. With your support, we're helping our neighbors in need by working with the City of Philadelphia to provide 400 15-pound boxes of fresh foods to 40 sites every week. From the 5-year-old who emptied her piggy bank to our corporate donors and our Philadelphia sports teams, you are helping us get food to those who need it most. To each of you, we say thank you. We are grateful.
Okay, and now we will just close out our presentation here. I'm going to turn it back over to Sarah Hertz.
Great. Hi, everybody. Thank you for spending the past hour with us. I just want to emphasize that the 8,000 meals a week that Rich referred to in his presentation, those were all prepared in about a 1,700 square foot kitchen. So the ability to increase our production in our new building is going to be extraordinary, and we're really excited about it. I also need to thank Toyota for creating the first video that you saw. That is one of a series of commercials that Toyota did for us. It's just a great partnership. But I want to close by saying that we chose to discuss PCK this week because it really sits at the junction of relieving hunger today and ending hunger for good, which I hope you now see. And PCK is just a wonderful model for demonstrating how practical and emotional support can move people onto a far more sustainable path to self-confidence and self-reliance. But of course, we continue to rely on your support now, perhaps more than any other point during COVID to date. We saw a revenue drop of 50% from April to May, which is in direct disproportion to the demand in service, which we saw up to 60%. Our staff commitment is unwavering, and the lengths that people here go to ensure that everybody has food is really compelling. One of the very first slides that you saw had a picture of a boarded up warehouse in it. That's actually one of our warehouses. And last week when things were really tense in Philadelphia, some people tried to get into that property. And as a result, we boarded up the windows. Every single person who works in that building chose to come into work the next day and every day that week, despite working in a place with no natural light and any threats that might come along with that. They can do all that they can, but without food and the funds to purchase it, there's only so much we can do. So as always, we are grateful for your continued support. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Be well and stay safe.